Well, what better to add to a brawl than a Triglav Protector? Because, my friends, we are headed to Volskaya Foundry, and I'm pretty sure I know who picked this one.
I don't know if we'll see Asmodee in this game, but I wonder if we might see something more unique. There are options that teams have played around with. Yeah, T-Sprung. We've seen Asmodee, we've seen Cho'Gall. And I think when we talk about the global control, the minute you take away the standard global of like a Tahaka, then you can open it up to do more things. And I think that will be something that to look for in draft. If Tahaka makes it through, it maybe keeps one team that maybe had something up their sleeve, maybe just keep it a little bit more normal. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. Yeah, we saw already Tahaka Falstad there for HeroesHearth yesterday, or by yesterday I mean before the break on Towers
10 minutes ago.
Yeah, yesterday in Heroes terms, which is last game. Now I wonder if we've seen some Zeratul on this map before play out as the pseudo-globals, you could say. Was Lava Wave on this map with Gale Force? There has been some Lava Wave. I think it might have been cursed. It was cursed.
Yeah.
It was cursed.
It was to answer the global call.
Right.
It didn't really help them much on the team fights, but you know, there's different uses, different heroics, different heroes that have shown up on Volskaya. Again, for me, I'm still waiting for like more niche, like specialist style picks. Asmodee was great, but I want more.
Okay, like, is this where you reference Zagara? Like, just I think
now
the hive mind
now that
is
you
starting.
mention it.
Oh, it's me. Now that I've already brought it up, you're fine to go. It wasn't me bringing it up this time. It's not GM.
Yes, now that you've mentioned it, we saw Zagara on Tomb of the Spider Queen, which used to be kind of like an old school favorite, but it didn't quite pan out the way that they wanted. But if you take away some of the globals and you can play towards the strength, this is one where going Nidus Network would make more sense.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger of a battleground for her to try to get that set up and going. It's also a longer battleground too, and those fights over the control points last for quite a while. If you are able to, you know, send things into overtime, it might be a great time for Zagara to be able to get things going with her split push in the Nidus Network. Pop on in, be able to help out, drop some bailings on the point.
If it wasn't for the fact that I've already seen the Asmodee from HeroesHearth and I saw Zagara just the other day, I'd probably be like, all right, it's probably not going to go down that route. And the odds aren't very high. But again, I kind of expect everything after what we've seen, especially mix in Tempo Storm's drafts. It might allow other people to be like, you know what, we can be a little creative too. And they have Arthalon, one of the more creative players that we have in terms of heroes he likes to play. So again, we'll see.
Yeah, as I talked about Jay Shritta being sort of a specialist player, old school specialist player, so was Arthalon. And that is why we got the old taste for blood strategy. And the changes that are currently on PTR, I believe, for Volskaya Foundry have not made their way in yet.
Pretty significant changes too.
They are. A damage boost. It puts on the hurtin'.
And you get the armor when more than one person is in it. Like 2 max.
A gray main band for Team 12.
Gray main for both teams, I think, is just going to have such tremendous priority.
Is this the standard Genji? HeroesHearth banned Tyrael being in the second pick position first game.
Honestly, it feels like I think that HeroesHearth would be okay with letting both Genji and Hanzo through and taking whatever's left over, because Kroan definitely likes playing both of those heroes. It didn't work out as well in game 1. This is our first Blaze, first ban?
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, I'm not complaining.
He was tough to deal with for HeroesHearth the first game. And Team 12 have 2 Blaze players. They can solo with it, with Goku playing it. They can just cause hell with it when Justin plays it. But that leaves open Tyrael. And Team 12 had a ton of Tyrael favor in their series versus Gale Force, even before their series versus Gale Force last weekend, before the rework came in. We saw Cure playing a little bit of Tyrael, and it seems like in general, Tyrael is Cure's hero. Goku played it last weekend, but even in having Tyrael and Falstad yesterday, Goku switched over to Falstad to solo lane on that ranged hero, keeping Cure on the secondary Tyrael. But we also know Justin can he drops a mean Sanctification.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, even post-rework, pre-rework, it was one of the few players that we had on Tyro consistently as more of a main tank style option. So we'll see later in the draft, but HeroesHearth, they have Genji, they have Hanzo available. I mean, what route do you go down here if you're HeroesHearth? It seems unlikely that you would go both in this situation.
Well, now it's sort of a strange spot where if they don't take Genji, then you're giving Genji Tyrael.
It's scary.
That seems pretty scary, but they'll at least take Uther away. They get BBJ's hero, Uther, and they'll keep with Hanzo. So, Team 12, Tyrael Genji.
I don't know. I mean, Uther does well to counter against Genji. He's actually one of the best support counters that we have for a Genji style. It allows you to kind of lock down that backside, but Tyrael obviously helps complement more of a dive style. So I don't know if Genji's a guarantee here, but I remember talking to Kira before the season ever started and, you know, trying to talk about roles and stuff like that. He's like, it doesn't matter. Like, me or Dansky can both play Genji at a top level. It really doesn't matter who plays it. So the flexibility is there if they want it.
With that early Uther, we may see Team 12 go back into some sort of poison at some point. The Lunara is a possibility. The Battlefield game that they played Lunara with also had a Tyrael. All right, Johanna Li Ming. Dansky gets Li Ming. Probably Kira on Tyrael, but maybe Goku. But Johanna will be played by Justing.
As appealing as Lunara might be, if you go charge strikes with Cassia, it has a similar AoE effect that makes it really difficult for Uther to deal with. So I think drafting with that in consideration is something that they have to be cognizant of, because generally you're not going to see double warrior with a solo mage damage dealer that requires you to hit all of your skill shots, because your auto attack damage unless you go like the level 413 talents.
Unless you are Team 12 with Dansky on Li Ming and you play triple warrior Li Ming.
That is true. That was BOE though.
It was.
This is a much, I guess, bigger area to fight in.
Still don't want to deal with that double reset.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I don't blame him one bit.
Weird to see a Genji ban fall so far down in the draft, but there it is. And then Tassadar to stop the Hanzo composition.
So if you're HeroesHearth, obviously Li Ming is something of a threat. Anubarak obviously is going to fall off when you look at the composition of Tyrael, Johanna. Arthas is available, ETC is still available, and after last game, ETC has to be considered very viable, but the Sanctification, Johanna with the Condemn, the Iron Skin available, Li Ming with a Wave of Force, not as appealing as we saw in those mosh pits that, I think he had 3 mosh pits that all helped confirm a kill. Like that's kind of unheard of, right? Like on 3 separate occasions.
Probably not mosh pit, but still viable because ETC and because it's on the larger side of a battleground, stage dive could still just as easily help out there for HeroesHearth.
Just keep it standard here. Save your last pick for Zagara. I mean Zeratul. That's what I mean. Zeratul. We're close.
McIntyre's Zeratul.
This is not an easy one though.
No. That's a pretty tanky team.
I mean, Li Ming with, we've seen a lot of power hungry lately, obviously with the new globe changes, but you can still go the force armor and make sure that you get that as long as you're hitting your Qs, which I'm pretty sure Dansky going to be able to hit a few. Johanna to blind you, Tyrael to help shield. And Johanna potentially just turns right around and hits you with a blast shield. So
Illusionist makes it more possible for Li Ming to try to get away, though with all the mobility that Zeratul has available to him, it'll sort of be a chase for sure. But we still don't have the support for Team 12 yet. That's something that they could use to try to deal with the Zeratul. Something like Palm. Buds has been playing more Karzim. And there's the potential for Air Ally for reveals instead of the Earth Ally if they wanted to go that route.
Yeah!
Ana. And Samuro.
Yeah. Sorry, June, you're late to the party. Team 12, the first to bust out Anna. No bananas here. But Samuro, more importantly here, that does give you triple melee. Goku will be on the Samuro with Cure on Ethereal.
Yeah. On a Li Ming.
I have not seen Samuro post stealth rework where he was buffed during that time, or at least he was buffed individually. His clones were nerfed in terms of damage dealt, but they're no longer one shot by towers as well. This is, I think, the first time I've seen it competitively, at least in casting wise. And
it has been for me. It was picked in Korea, I think once. It looks like an MVP Black Draft if I have ever seen it. I'll be honest, you've got the Kyocha Ana with the reset Li Ming, Rich playing Samuro, but Kier returns to Tyrael. Let's see what the last pick is going to be to deal with that. It'll be Junkrat.
I was hoping we would get like some type of questing talent for an assassin. Just stack for days against Samuro. It's a long game. Volskaya is traditionally a long game. Just stack against Samuro clones all day. That would have been fun.
So we talk about the control point fights. Do you give the edge to either team and their ability to hold on to those?
My edge definitely goes to the sustainable side of Team 12. I mean, Samuro can get in there and do damage now. It's not like the Samuro of old. It requires him to be there, but it's really going to be dependent on Buds, on keeping them alive. But in terms of the shielding, the iron skin that front line brings, they look like they could hold pretty for a long time.
Yeah. The concussion mine might be troublesome for Buds in his positioning. It's all down to him and his positioning, right? Ana doesn't have an ice block that she can pick. She's just got to make sure she's in the right spot, and then your team has to make sure that you're in the right spot, or else you're going to avoid the skill shot healing. But Nano Boost, man, we have seen Dansky light up with resets as Li Ming, and now he can do it even more, so I'm pretty pumped to get into this one. Let's head over to Volskaya Foundry.
One thing to note, though, Ana's self-healing, not exactly there. And
exactly.
There's a Zeratul. So
yeah, they picked it into the Zeratul, and then Junkrat was picked out of that. There's a lot of lockdown. If she gets thrown over to the Wolves, Stormbolt, Hammer of Justice, there's no getting away from that. And you're absolutely right. The self-healing, she's got Biotic Grenade.
I do realize, actually, Junkrat does have a Q questing talent at 4. So technically, he can use this battleground if he wants to go that route at level 4 to just stack that up and become a late game, you know, Q monster as long as he's hitting them.
Yeah, I think that's what we see the most from Junkrat. Sometimes getting the concussion mine talent there, but for the most part, it's been more so stacking that up.
So the clones don't do much damage for Samuro, or not as much as they used to. So BBJ going into the auto attack talent 1 just sat over there and just auto attack, built up his level 1 questing talent, no big deal.
Yeah, and we see Uthers finish that out pretty fast. It'll be even easier for him to just complete that. Trying to build that up so that he has more Hammers of Justice, more lockdown. Definitely going to be nice to have off of the concussion mines, like we said before. Also, to make sure that he has it to follow up with a Muradin if he sees someone from there. And then for Samuro, if he's going to dive in and do some damage to that Hanzo.
I'm just looking. So Samuro going Way of Illusion, making sure to get that bonus damage, and he is well on his way to doing that.
Yeah, at level 4 for Samuro, there's a lot of different damage reduction ideas, different armor just based on kind of what you're building into, but what your opponents have. So I'm wondering what he's going to take at that case. We'll have to wait and see. For now, like you said, there's stacking happening on either side. For Ana, it's trying to build up the piercing darts so that you'll be able to get the increased double sleep, as well as later on having the double heal for the pierce of your healing dart, but most importantly having the range increase on both so that you can play a little safer.
Yeah, you know, we're also seeing power hungry for Li Ming instead of that force armor, so Buds is gonna have to be on point in all shapes, forms, whatever it is, because the Zeratul has potential against both Li Ming and Ana. But if Ana lands that sleep dart against the Zeratul, so you get a bless shield behind that, I mean, Dansky will just target that and blow it up. And that's going to be, you know, a big point for them when it comes to defending that back line.
First control point unlocking in 30 seconds. His team just safely going back and forth between the lanes to keep up the soak. Nothing out of the ordinary scene. It was the one with the win for Samuro to have the armor around his win walk.
First control point. Question was posed by you as who's going to be the most survivable when it comes to this. Uther, see how his mana works. Of course, getting those auto attacks in is definitely keeping his mana bar nice and healthy. But the way these teams are built, they are built to just throw the enemy team off just a little bit.
Yeah, both Johanna and Murden are such good warriors to have for this point. Justin going into Laws of Hope, and of course he has the Iron Skin for the shielding there. But then Murden and his trait, how it works, he can always back off and then be able to move back onto the point once he's healed up. He's actually going to use a tap. He was getting low on mana, but that time away did put the point in favor of Team 12, and they'll start racking up that percentage points.
Racking them up. Justin's just holding here. He is Johanna. He'll just stand there for a bit, wait for the rest of his team to make his way back up. They get 33% of the channel. Now HeroesHearth looking to take control, but contested for the moment. That's one thing that the clones can do.
Yep, the turret doing quite a bit of damage and allowing Team 12, or allowing HeroesHearth to stay on the point. But now Team 12 get their own there, and Team 12 have been keeping people in both lanes as best they can to keep up the soak while they're still contesting this. They're at 33%, about halfway channeled for HeroesHearth as Team 12 moved off the point momentarily. Now HeroesHearth will get the channel started for themselves.
And Goku's just hanging out, trying to see if he can contest, but of course you gotta wait for that. Either way, both teams content with side soaking, making sure that they can get there. Krillin going into the extra movement speed when he is out of charges, so if he needs to make his way down, he'll unload those, make for a quick rotation before mounting.
Yeah, later on at 13, there's a big movement speed bonus for Ripper Air if that's the choice for Junkrat. May make the difference for him to be able to rotate faster, but for now he and Kira are kind of just going back and forth when they're needed up to that top lane. And same thing down for the bottom, but of course, if you're soaking in the bottom, you have the distinct pleasure of being able to run up faster thanks to that conveyor belt.
Zeratul versus Samuro. That's not exactly what I expected to say today, but it is indeed a thing as we see the control point being channeled by Team 12, and with both teams just kind of casually side soaking, neither team is necessarily putting a high priority on the Protector just yet. They're willing to respect its worth and don't want to give it up, but they're also making sure that they don't give up the experience, which can be more valuable than the potential that you get out of the Protector.
HeroesHearth has changed up the strategy. They have a camp up in the top. They're invading now as the overtime starts. There is the perfect concussion mine that sends Tyrael over. BBJ is fairly low as everyone runs for the hills, getting away from that Archangel's Wrath. McIntyre hits the back line, still holding into overtime. That camp starting to push in even further in the top, and with the turret there, Team 12 are going to back off. They have a little bit of time. There's 71%, but the problem with that, though, is that HeroesHearth are getting pretty close to heroic abilities. They're going to send Junkrat back up to the top to push along with that camp. That's going to pull someone up from Team 12.
It's definitely got to pull him up, and that is going to be Li Ming, and Junkrat will just pass on by and now join the fight. It's 99-99. We're in overtime. Justine's holding on. Bud's keeping the heals there. The level 10, though, picked up here.
The Riptire throws the Glaura, or Justine, right over to HeroesHearth as they'll lose that Johanna, and HeroesHearth take the Triglav Protector. I have to say, that phase was so well done by HeroesHearth. They were patient. They fell behind at first. They were willing to back off. They tapped and healed back up, went in, and slowly pushed off Team 12. Then when they started to get low again, not only did they go back and heal up, respecting and understanding the time it would take for Team 12 to get to that 99%, they got the camp in the top, which did take out a tower there. They also got the next turret camp too, which let them get the little bit of extra oomph required to take that Triglav Protector.
They're going... Oh, McIntyre just tried to make a play. All I could see was his icon on the minimap try and blink in. He was trying to get onto Goku, and Goku finds his way out of there. Trigloff Protector getting a bit of damage in. It's going to get a tower. It's going to collapse here. Shbu going to try and zone out.
Minions soaking up that orb. Heroics are here for both teams now. With Illusion Master, Goku's basically going to be really hard to catch for the team.
Almost impossibly so. I mean, most Samuro players post level 10 are almost impossible to kill. I mean, it is your job to make sure that you don't die. That is your job number one. It is so strong.
That leaves Buds with slightly less of a job trying to take care of him. And as we talked about, the tanky front line of both Tyrael and Johanna will help out with that too. So far, we've seen really good positioning from Buds. He is over halfway through his piercing dart, so now has the pierce and the extra range on sleep dart. Just working on finishing that out so that he can do the same for his healing dart.
Justin and team have eyes to see if Arthon will walk out any bit further. He's also acting as the beacon as Ishbu. Gonna walk through, met by Goku. Now this camp's going to push here. This is an opportunity for Team 12 to get back into the experience races. They found themselves down just a little bit, but Ishbu coming in. Zeratul not quite here yet to make the play.
Yeah, Buds and Dansky rotated out way before everyone else too, because they know that without eyes on him, it's pretty scary to be out in the position that they were.
Bansky. It's the Putz Dansky.
I like it. Team 12 just waiting to make sure that they have 13 for that next control point. But HeroesHearth is doing all that they need to try to keep the pressure on, using that advantage they had just to take and get a couple turrets. They're going to pressure out, do damage in the top or in the bottom, while Dansky's clearing out that top camp. HeroesHearth, it's their map choice. They have always been liking this one. They're doing really well here, although Team 12 is ready to go for the fight.
They're going for it, but I don't think they're going to manage to get it. They just don't have the same engagement tools. Outside of a Blessed Shield, their CC is pretty much nil. You know, they have Disintegrate, they have the Sleep Dart potential set up to initiate a few things, but it's pretty limited. And I think with HeroesHearth, they're content with going in and get a bit of damage. Again, getting a camp does not always mean that you have to push with it. They forced somebody to respawn top, they went bottom, got a little bit of structure damage in, and they set themselves up very well for the late game.
20 seconds until the next control point. With HeroesHearth, a lot of mobility now at 13 between that Ripper Air, also the mounted archery. Get the extra movement speed upon mounting for a few seconds. They actually do catch Samuro, stunning him out. It is. That's right at the start of this point fight. We're seeing Tyrael head back out. It's really cool to see HeroesHearth and using that Junkrat. They've used it a couple of times. I think we saw them use it here, but we've also seen Tempo Storm use the Junkrat on Volskaya Foundry. Just be able to go back and forth and keep Team 12 busy while the rest get that control point.
Things are just going well for HeroesHearth this last game and a half. It's 3 kills to 0, and again, Team 12 just have not had an opportunity to engage. Have not had the fair fight that they were hoping they were getting. There's the Blessed Shield, cleansed out by BBJ. Ishbu zoned out. They just don't have the firepower here right now. Samuro just now getting here. Tyrael bottom. And there's just not a lot that Team 12 can do. I mean, have we had Nano Boost used once?
No, I mean, unless Team 12 can get HeroesHearth to fight them, and HeroesHearth just seems not at all interested in that. It's sort of like the last game. HeroesHearth just running Team 12 back and forth, playing whack-a-mole. It was a great cleanse to stop what might have been the possible first time of that. 90%, but no 16 at all for Team 12. They've been, the minute that you saw that Samuro get picked, it was a different story for them. They couldn't go up and contest. They had to give the Protector away for free just to try to work on getting that 16.
McIntyre's had that healing pulse for I don't know how long. I mean, he's just in, out, dodges that, actually got hit by the blind, but the entire time. The Protector was picked up by HeroesHearth. They're level 16. They have the advantage. And now, with that talent tier advantage and the Protector, they need to try and stretch this. The race towards 20 will be a good thing for them. And that's kind of where you have to take this. I mean, we've seen it so far. Oh, McIntyre.
Sleep. Divine Shield and Sanctification. Misses the Singularity Spike, has to blink out. Here comes the Riptire. It's going to knock Cure over to Heroes Hearth. The BBJ, with that cooldown reduction, had the Hammer of Justice. Also has Benediction now for a lot more knockback, or knockdown. Stunning action. Heroes Hearth brought the Protector to the mid. There was a camp in favor of Team 12 up there that would have taken time to deal with. But still with the Protector about at half health as they move on to the Keep Towers. Great mine. Perfect mine from Junkrat to get that Tyrael kill.
They need to get this wall down, and they need to just call it a day after that. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of sieging tools. I mean, Junkrat has endless nades at 16, but in terms of poking down a keep, that's just not how it works. Getting more structures, getting that race towards 20 is exactly what they need to do. They've got their eyes set here on the bottom fort. The turret's there to eat shots. I don't know if they have enough damage here. Yeah, they do not have enough damage.
Yeah, this is where Team 12 wants to fight, and it may have been where Heroes Hearth was willing to give it. Justin went in, didn't use the Blessed Shield, and those frag launcher grenades slow down Team 12's assault on just about anybody.
Junkrat just nopes on out. He's like, you know what, I see you. I'm just going to go a little further, and just out of there. And, you know, Heroes Hearth, they didn't get a ton out of it. They got one fort and a keep wall, and that's good. I mean, we look at the race towards 20. Volskaya obviously has, you know, the length between the control points is lengthy at times. So right now, Heroes Hearth, this is Team 12's chance to come back. And if Heroes Hearth can find some way to force out the rotations like they have been using this camp, feigning the top and then going down and taking the bottom fort, I think that would probably be their best move right now if they want to play more of the macro style and the race towards 20.
Yeah, even just waiting until they can get to 20, if they have that well ahead of Team 12, they can push along with having the control point just to take that fort. So it was nice to see that rotation down, not getting too overly aggressive with that Protector.
They don't want to give up the healing pulse. I mean, they sat on it, they waited. I don't think they want to fight this. They don't need to fight it. I mean, giving up a healing pulse is tough, but is it worth it right now?
Kira gets mined. Has Sank if he needs it. They use the healing pulse. Cleanse and the natural agility gets Crowan out just fine. They're going to turn that around. Dragon's Arrow stopped because of the beautiful Sanctification. And now Dansky goes to town, having the nano boost to try to deliver those resets. The mines, though, causing mayhem all over the place. As Zeratul goes in, he's chasing down Dansky. Samuro goes down, so does Li Ming. Justin running for his life as Heroes Hearth regroups for the takedown.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that whole thing started, I mean, Murden went down, but the fact that they went through, that was all coordinated right there. We saw Murden jump over, and McIntyre was sitting behind that wall. They collapsed onto the Ana, forced out the Sanctification. We get a 4-for-1 trade. They might actually try and end it here, Gilly.
That Sanctification was beautiful. It just wasn't enough, and this great Junkrat play from Arthalon has been continually a thorn in the side of Team 12 this game with those mines. They've lost Kira a couple of times from that, and we're able to split things apart again from Team 12. And now Sleep Dart comes out as Buds is back, but the core is falling rapidly, Jay Howe.
Crowan is low. He gets a heal there.
Yeah, 30%.
Should do it.
25% going down. You've just got McIntyre, Arthalon, BBJ though, and McIntyre's the last one left. He blinks over to the side.
Got him.
Lone Wolf.
Wow. Okay, that is Volskaya Foundry played at a very controlled pace. I mean, sometimes you get the action on the control points, and then you have a team like Heroes Hearth that's just like, look, we're familiar with this battleground. We've obviously played it multiple times, learned a few things along the way. And all that they did was control rotations, control the points. That last team fight, the McIntyre Ishbu dive onto the Ana, and I was looking at it because Murden just sitting there with healing static, and there's like so many bodies with the clones and everything just healing up, but then he got blown up in the middle of that, and then the Riptire was just kind of sitting there waiting for that to wear off, and the minute they started to move out of that Sanctification, things went boom.
And it did. Arthalon showing a couple of different Junkrat games now and having a lot of effect over these team fights. And it was cool to see, just because You know that with the Tyrael, you're going to see a lot of grouping. You want to have that strong front line with Johanna and Tyrael to protect the Li Ming and especially the Ana. And even having the Samuro up in the front too, it's just like, yeah, we'll just go right past that because we have the dive possibilities and we can cause all sorts of mayhem, which is what Junkrat should be doing in the fights. And if the team is coordinated and concerted and practiced at being able to capitalize on that, then that's the kind of effect that you're going to see is those team fights.
Yeah. We haven't seen a lot out of Samuro to know where his damage lies. And again, you're pretty reliant on the Li Ming, and I just don't think that there was enough there.
For me, though, it all goes back to that first control point. I thought that more than maybe anything else showed how good HeroesHearth is on this map and why it is a favorite for HeroesHearth is how controlled they were through that phase. Very willing and okay to know how long it takes to charge up, being okay with getting their second. It's not like a Shrines ordeal, right? Where if you get there late, you're giving up so many of the Guardians. Once you get on there, there's always the possibility of overtime. And as long as you are in charge and know how much health you have and what benefit you have, and getting that camp in the top was kind of the icing on the cake, things looked really good for them, that control point. And from there, they just played the rotation game.
It was kind of interesting because I'm like, they don't have to take the fight. That's what I'm talking about. They don't have to take the fight. And then Junkrat put the concussion mine down and put Tyrael out of position. They're like, okay, maybe we'll fight. You know, like we got him out of position. Maybe we should capitalize on this. And so I think if that doesn't hit, are we still in the game? You know, but Arthon's like, let's go. Let's go. Here's a concussion mine. Knock him off. Let's go. And that ended up starting a really killer fight there for HeroesHearth.
And for Team 12 now, they are one game away from losing in an upset to HeroesHearth. So let's see if HeroesHearth can send it home with this next one. It's going to be Battlefield of Eternity that we go to. Team 12 chooses Battleground pick to take us to Battlefield of Eternity, home turf for Team 12.
We'll see what type of strategies come out, whether it is revolving around the Li Ming again, which did not have the success as it had in previous games. And right now, it really feels like HeroesHearth, the strategies that we've seen them kind of approach this weekend with, yesterday worked out well, but here are a few games, you know, they're trying different things that we haven't quite seen from a lot of other teams. Still a lot of the same, you know, pieces, but it's put together slightly different. So having that last one, the solo Ana, with the Li Ming and a Samuro, maybe not quite up to snuff yet.
And remember, that started out with a Blaze ban. HeroesHearth has the advantage of having seen all of the games that Team 12 played yesterday versus Gale Force Esports. So they dealt with the Blaze first game, didn't work out so well for them. They banned that out. They know that Tyrael is a high priority as well for Team 12. And it shows that they have ways of being able to deal with that if they can't ban it, if they have to let it through. So we're seeing that HeroesHearth has done their homework, which is what you would hope to see and hope to expect from this team coming into the series.
They seem to have Blaze in their sights, as you just mentioned, so go with it again. That seems to be a key component that Team 12 has adapted, but by no means is it their only one, so still expect plenty here.
Team 12, quite a lot, was picking Li Ming early on Battlefield of Eternity, even first picking it when they went into triple warrior mode. Versus Gale Force, they did switch things up. They played more of the Hanzo Malthael style, and they had Tyrael and Blaze with that. No Blaze. Blaze isn't a thing. They may get Tyrael. Doesn't seem like HeroesHearth has any interest in playing him yet. Or it might just be that it's a higher priority for Team 12. We'll have to see from that. Team 12, though, trying to figure out what the best ban is here.
There's so much to consider around the Greymane Genji Hanzo right now. Crowan has played an amazing Hanzo. He's normally near the top. I'm excited to see the stats after this weekend in terms of how high he actually is on the Hanzo. The Tyrael ban, which means that Greymane, Hanzo, and Genji have all been let through. I feel that if you're going any direction, Greymane would have higher priority than potentially giving up a Greymane Genji on the other side to Team 12.
Team 12 at least has the, no matter what they get there, they get Uther with it, if that's where they want to go with that. And that might be the best play. Put BBJ back on something else. See if his Lucio worked out really well, but test him a bit.
I mean, this has to be Hanzo or Greymane. They are devising strategies, I think, around that. in their own draft and potentially the counter picks that could be coming out from Team 12. If it's anything beyond that, be a little bit surprised.
How big of a fear is Abathur with those kinds of power picks up, though, too?
That is true. I mean, technically, it's highly unlikely that the enemy team would take Greymane and Hanzo. So if you wanted to go a different route, you might get one of the two that's left over.
With every death comes honor.
Hanzo.
With honor, redemption.
So Genji Uther's up, Greymane Uther's up.
Tassadar Uther is up if it goes back the other side.
Yeah.
That's what I'm scared of. Greymane Uther here seems really appealing.
Yeah. Buds hasn't been super successful with Uther. Not that he's... They just find more success with other supports. Like, he's played a lot of Lucio and found success from that. Malfurion, too. But it does seem more... Uther is way more highly focused from Heroes Hearth, but I agree. I don't know if I'd be willing to give that up.
I mean, it is tried and true for Heroes Hearth, especially in Crowan's role. So if you're gonna give that up, then you're gonna have to draft around it. And being the team drafting to counter the other team is not always the best thing. It can work. There you go, Genji.
Yes.
Uther.
Abandons no man.
Leaves up Greymane. That may get picked, may get banned by Heroes Hearth, but it does let Team 12 make sure that they have this really powerful pick for team fights and the support necessary to enable it.
Hanzo Greymane, it's not bad, but I don't see that here for Heroes Hearth.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was mentioning a ban.
Yeah, I think that it'll definitely have to approach the second ban phase unless they surprise us here, but ETC still available, as we've seen BBJ play.
Even if Greymane got banned, Team 12 could go the double reset mode with a Li Ming Genji. So I like that 1-2 pick for them. It's not as race oriented, but it does let them try to make sure that they're gonna win the fights, and they can be pretty dominant here. Early Malthael to ensure it makes it through the second ban phase, and the Tassadar.
It gives them good team fight potential, and it gives them good race. I mean, Malthael gets that percentage-based damage, so you can always kind of casually poke away if it comes to a stall area. Tassadar, obviously, we've seen the pairing with Hanzo so far, going into the auto attack. It's just a matter of getting, the cooldown reduction potentially at 4 and 7 to really kind of make that work. But either way, Tassadar fits into there. And Malthael, of course, Tormented Souls against Uther. So it's a strong start to the draft. But with Team 12, still 3 picks left. Still a lot to be done with it.
What's going to set that up for success now? Is it a support? Are they looking at the next highest played as Rhaegar and the Ancestral Healing as enabling Malthael? Is it Karazim?
Feels like it probably may be more Karazim than anything. But as we've seen so far, it could just as easily just be a Lucio.
Yeah.
Well, it won't be a Lucio now.
That's what I thought it was. As you were talking, I was like, no. It's gotta be Lucio. And it's not, because it's banned.
There's the Abathur fear. I'm trying to think of how I would feel about Tracer here. Not now, but like at least in the draft somewhere for Team 12. In the last pick specifically.